It was hard to believe that I had actually seen what had occurred the night before. It was beyond the Dalton garage that the Wellington house, as it came into view, surprised me by showing a light in the kitchen. My first feeling was one of relief, that Jim had been released once more and was at home again. That changed to surprise, however, as I kept on until I was close under the kitchen porch. There was a man inside, a tall man in an apron, who was smoking a cigarette and eyeing rather dubiously a can of something or other which he held in his hand. He might easily have seen me, but he did not, and as I watched him I felt certain that I had seen him before. I had no time to think about that, however, for the next moment he commenced a curious performance which kept me rooted to the spot in amazement. That is, he first did something or other to the gas range and then backing off from it, began to toss lighted matches at it from a distance. On what I think was the third try the effect was simply astounding. There was a roar of exploding gas, and the door to the stove oven came hurtling through the screen and landed on the rear porch, followed almost instantly by the strange man himself, who proceeded to fall over it. There was a second or two of silence. Then the man sat up and commenced a soft and monotonous swearing which I interrupted. "Are you hurt?" I asked. "Hurt? I've damned near broken my leg." He was getting up by that time, and now he looked out and saw me. "Sorry, miss. I must have turned on the oven and forgotten about it. I'm not used to a gas range." "So I imagine," I said dryly. "Has Mr. Wellington come back?" "No, miss." "Then you'd better let me come in and show you about that stove." He did not want me, I saw that. But he put as good a face on it as he could, and I went in and lighted the stove properly. He watched me carefully. "It's really quite tame, isn't it, when you get the hang of it?" he said, and then added "miss" as an afterthought. I noticed then that he had lost his eyebrows and some of his front hair, but he was distinctly amiable in spite of it. "You see, miss, I'm not a cook, but I told Mr. Wellington I'd try to carry on until, well, until things got settled." "If you carry on the way you've started, they'll never be settled. And you can tell him, when he comes back, that Miss Hall called." "Louisa Hall." He gave me a quick look, seemed to hesitate and then opened the screen door, or what was left of it, for me. "Very well, miss," he said. I'll tell him. I started out from there for the woodland toward Euclid Street, but once I turned to look back, and he was at the window watching me. Take it all in all, I was puzzled and not too easy. Had the police taken over Jim's house in his absence, and was this man an officer of some sort, trying to get himself a bit of a meal? Or was he a friend of Jim's, there for some purpose I could not know? He was no servant. That was certain. But I could not take a chance on him. I looked regretfully toward the woodland and then turned back home, to see when I turned the corner of the Dalton house something which set me running as fast as I ever ran in my life. That something was a thick column of smoke from one of the chimneys of our house, and I knew that Mother had ordered the furnace to be lighted. That, with all the crescent, meant that immediately the water pans on all the radiators would be filled. I ran like a crazy woman. Luckily it was now dusk and the dinner hour, so that the kitchen windows, which are like so many eyes peering out, were untenanted. I shot into our own kitchen, collided with Annie in a passage carrying down Mother's tea tray, and took the stairs two at a time. But I was too late. Mother in her dressing gown was standing by the radiator in the wing, and gazing down at that awful glove. "Is that you, Louisa?" she called. "Come here a moment. What do you think this is?" "It looks like an old glove," I said as calmly as I could. "Then what is it doing there?" "It doesn't matter, does it?" I picked it up and looked at it. "It has stove polish on it or something." "I'll throw it away." But Mother reached out and taking it from me, delicately held it to her nose and sniffed at it.